Last year, West Bloomfield residents voted to pass a $120 million bond to improve existing schools and build one new middle school for the district. This was by no means an unpopular decision, seeing as 69% of the people voted in favor of passing the bond. Nearly $60 million is going towards the creation of the new middle school, with Olms being demolished later and Abbott's future still up in the air. But those plans are coming much later, years down the line, and probably only being seen when the current freshman class are seniors. However, the school district has already put to use millions of dollars for this very building. Starting during the last few weeks of the 2017-18 school year, construction started on West Bloomfield High School. The results of this are evident when you first enter the building. A new leadership classroom was made. Pods were brought into spaces where unused lockers once sat, and the Eye Center now has people skipping class in there because it looks good. When we all walk into the atrium in the morning, everyone gets to see just how new and modern the school looks from last year. The bond is paid for by West Bloomfield residents through their property taxes. According to the school district, they plan to spend just shy of $50 million on upgrading the high school and elementary schools, along with replacing outdated technology and buses, security improvements, and the first phases of construction for the new middle school.
I don't like how square and how much space like the tables take up, but I like the chairs, especially like the spinny ones, like the black ones you can sit on.
I don't like it because like the desks are too close together, and me personally, I'm like a claustrophobic person, and I don't like to be sitting too close to people, so I feel like the desks are way too close, and like they should have just kept the row desks. I feel that was better.
I think it's good that West Bloomfield keeps updating. I mean, it's been like how long? Like 10 years since they've changed anything. So I think it's good for the update. But it is a huge change. But I'm just, ready to get out of here senior year.
Yeah, I think so. I think after like the first, month or so, I feel like people were adapted, so.
Well, I know from some people in my class, they don't like it either. They say it's too close. And also for the people that's like tall, they don't like it. But I guess other people like it. I can't say. I can't speak for others.
I wouldn't say furniture was the best for freshmen because I do see them damaging our furniture a lot, but I think they're slowly starting to adapt.
I'd probably put in better lunches and more food options, because like the lunch here, in my opinion, kind of sucks. I just don't like eating it.
Well, if the no headphone rule counts, because I feel like it's not fair to everybody because one person got ran over. I don't think that's fair, but I mean, hey, I can't change stuff,
I would add another gym, and then on top of the gym I would do a track, but we don't have an actual fitness, the ones besides the one all the way down there. I would update it and put a whole new one and all new equipment.
It's crazy now because I remember at my old school, which is only 2 years ago, everything was book and paper, but now everything's on the computer. So everything's a lot more accessible, which is kind of annoying sometimes because teachers, they'll give you homework even if it's a snow day.
I like it. It's all right. I mean, the Wi-Fi be running slow sometimes, but hey, it's all good.
Well, the technology didn't upgrade that much because the Wi-Fi still sucks. So I don't know what type of technology upgrade they did, but I use my own computer, so I don't really.
$50 million is being spent through the end of 2019, so there's still a full year of time for projects the district has to complete to wrap up. But just how much of that $50 million has been spent?
I think we're probably looking in the ballpark of between $40 and $42 million that we've already spent.
That was Deanne Barish. She's the assistant superintendent for the West Bloomfield School District and one of the main people in charge of the bond. I talked to her and Mr. Watson about the bond money, and they answered some questions about what the bond has done at the high school. When I asked her why the school brought in tables instead of desks, this is what she and Watson had to say.
We're pack animals, and so we like to work together, and that's the nature of, particularly when we look at the 4 C's in the portrait of a graduate, you have to be able to collaborate, you have to be able to communicate, you have to be able to think critically, and you have to be able to contribute. Well, what makes that much easier, especially when we have the size classrooms we have, is when you can sit closer together.
So we're really trying to focus on what you need to be successful at the next level. And it's not sitting in straight rows. Those jobs are gone.
And so what we also found is you have to balance what was feasible within the bond to pay for, and also what it is that was going to work best for kids. And so we had to find kind of that balance between the two.
Finally, I asked the two of them what they would say to people who still weren't totally convinced about the new changes the bond has brought.
It might be uncomfortable for a little bit, but by and large, they're going to be fine. And then you're always going to have people at the other end who, no matter what, are going to be resistant to it. And that's okay, too, because they eventually will come along, they'll figure it out, or they'll find a way to best make it work for them, even though it might not necessarily be the most comfortable for them.
It's not about fixing it. It's about doing better. It's about always trying to get to that next level and not being satisfied where you're at.
Students may be the ones most directly affected by the new changes, but there are other people who have to work with them as well. Many teachers have been and will be in the district longer than the average student will, and they've been adapting for new technology that's been brought into the classrooms for years. Chromebooks and Google Classroom are used more than ever now, but this was not so in the past. With all new furniture, Mimeo boards, and more, I asked them what they thought of the new changes the bond has brought to the school as well.
I think so far the usage of space, teachers have kind of been implored to use the space as much as we can. I try to do that to just get myself and my students out of the classroom, have them move around different collaborative areas. I like the changes. I think some of the teachers have had to adjust more than others, but I think it's new and it's refreshing.
The way I instruct, I've kind of been motivated to try a couple new things. I think with this extra space around the room, or around the school rather, and just sort of the openness to sending students outside of the classroom, I think, that's probably been the biggest change, and I like it. It's been positive.
It's been great. The furniture is super helpful. Kids can move around really quickly. I don't know, it has kind of forced us to look at how we do things.
I think the furniture is fine. I think it's gone. It's been a smoother transition than most have thought, and the smart boards are a work in progress. We're still kind of learning how to do things on them, and we just had a recent PD to kind of help us with that. So it's a work in progress.
In retrospect, I would have liked to have thought more about it and been more vocal. I think we could have chose one of the options that we have, the individual desks that have wheels on them. I think if we just would have gotten like 36 of those in each room, I think that would have been the better way to go.
Oh my God, I love them. I love them. I love them. It is the best thing ever, and I cannot wait for the new update where we can push things out to kids. It's amazing.
I can understand that with any change, there's going to be people, especially the student body, that has thoughts about it. So not too surprised about that. Yeah.
I don't know if they're ineffective. I think that it's just another tool. Everything that we have is a tool for us. It depends how we use it as a staff and you guys use it as students. But I think it's all a tool. You can abuse it, you can use it. It's kind of up to you.
I think it's what you make out of it. I think just like anything else, there's some fine-tuning to do for sure with just movement. I think ultimately, if you're not in the room, you're probably not going to get as much instruction or help or kind of push to the next level. So I think there are definitely things that could be tweaked.
Ultimately, giving a final judgment on whether or not the bond is working at this time would be unfair. However, the bond will be a major force that will be affecting the school district for years and even decades to come. Not hearing the opinions of the student and staff who it affects directly probably wouldn't be the best idea. So, what do you think, Lakers? We could only interview so many people for this piece, but still think it is absolutely necessary to get more feedback. What do you think of the bond? Send your responses to @WBF_Laker_Update and @LU_CameronM, and you might be featured in a future segment about the bond. I'm Cameron Montgomery, reporting for Laker Update.